皆さん。
はいはい、かわいいかわいい。
お願い、どこかに連れてって。おそこ。
Our story involves a geeky nerd who despises everything about romance, but everything changes when the school's beauty queen confesses and blackmails him into being her boyfriend. What could possibly go wrong? Our scene opens with a thrilling battle. Eita, clad in full armor regalia and wielding a mighty sword, faces off against a ferocious dragon. Just as he's about to strike the deciding blow, his dream shatters, literally, when he crashes to earth, falling off his couch and landing with a heavy thud. Groggy and disoriented, he hears a familiar voice calling his name. Someone's at the door. Eita opens to find Chiwa, his childhood bestie, grinning broadly and excitedly announcing that it's time for a shopping extravaganza. Eita, however, quickly shuts that down, telling her he isn't interested. Chiwa's face falls into a pout, but she pinky promises not to buy any snacks. With that promise, Eita changes his mind and off they go. Once at the supermarket, the two friends dive straight into it. While shopping, Chiwa points out the changes in Eita, mentioning his single-minded hyperfocus on studying even though he's the top student in their class. In response, Eita gently reminds Chiwa that she knows his goals and all he has sacrificed. With that being said, Eita goes to grab veggies for their meal, making Chiwa grumble in distaste. Back home, after their shopping spree, Chiwa stages a mini protest against having veggies for dinner. She launches into a string of complaints, even teasing Eita about being a grass-munching plant eater. Eita, playing Gordon Ramsay, offers her the leftover pork with miso from yesterday, making her drool. Chiwa, thrilled, squeals and tells Eita how much she loves him. Homegirl definitely loves to be filled with meat. As they settle down for dinner, Chiwa notices Eita buried in a book and irritatingly seizes the opportunity to chat. She wonders aloud why he doesn't nerd out at a private med school, which might cut his marathon study sessions in half. Eita casually responds that while getting into a private med school might be easier, the Benjamins are out of his budget. Later that evening, Chiwa brings up Natsukawa Masuzu, a girl known throughout the school for her breathtaking beauty, and asks Eita if he'd hit that. Eita replies he's a volcel, not an incel, and asks Chiwa what rank Masuzu placed in her last semester's exam, making it obvious he's not simping for her at all. Satisfied with Eita's indifferent response, Chiwa excitedly announces her plan to transform herself into a total knockout by summer. Okay girl, we see you. The next morning, as Eita prepares for school, he takes one last look at the reminder on his wall, a firm declaration that he absolutely will not fall in love, while still trying to avoid giving anyone the impression that he might be gay. Bro is a Sigma Chad. When Chiwa shows up at his doorstep, they head to school together. During their walk, Chiwa suddenly asks Eita what he thinks of her hair clips. Easy now, flirt pro. True to his usual unsimping self, Eita simply brushes it off. But Chiwa, ever persistent, doesn't let it go. She excitedly shares that she read somewhere that accessories can really make the boys go loco and boost a girl's popularity. With that nugget of wisdom, Chiwa dashes in front of Eita, eager for him to get a better look at her hair clips. Reluctantly, Eita finally admits that she looks cute in a small animal kind of way. When they arrive at school, it isn't long before Chiwa is summoned to the faculty room. The reason? She's been going around school boasting about her plans to become poppy-cute and showing off her puppy dog eyes, prompting the committee to step in. Meanwhile, Eita notices couples everywhere and turns to his friend Keiru, questioning why it seems like everyone is in love. Keiru's smile falters slightly as he explains that being in love is far more common than being anti-love, like Eita. Burn. Curious, Keiru shifts the conversation to Eita's parents. Eita responds with an unexpectedly harsh tone, referring to his parents as mother-sucking losers. Damn homie. Keiru, taken aback, advises Eita not to use such strong language. But Eita remains firm, insisting that they truly suck for abandoning him to pursue their own romantic interests separately. Meanwhile, the entire school buzzes with excitement and curiosity as the school's princess, Masuzu, makes her grand entrance and heads to her classroom. Eita is already there, and his day takes an unexpected turn when their homeroom teacher assigns him a seat right next to Masuzu. The rest of the class looks on with envy, and Eita can't help but think that this seat might be a bad omen. All he wants is to study quietly and get into a top medical school, as it's his only way to repay his relative Siko, who took him in after his own parents abandoned him. As time goes on, Eita sticks to his routine, keeping his focus on his studies and paying no mind to Masuzu, despite the buzz she creates around her. Later at home, Eita and Chiwa sit down for dinner. Chiwa inquires about Eita's seating arrangement at school. Eita casually mentions that he's sitting next to Masuzu, which stuns Chiwa. Despite the shock, Chiwa remarks that Eita's demeanor is unlikely to change regardless of who he sits beside. The next day at school, Eita finds himself under the spotlight as other students watch him with jealousy and envy when he walks into the classroom. He hates it. During class, Masuzu accidentally drops her eraser, and Eita hands it back to her. Just as Masuzu starts to say thank you, Eita turns away, clearly uninterested. As the days go by, Eita can't shake the feeling that Masuzu is continually watching him. Then, unexpectedly, Masuzu flirtingly turns on her girl charm and asks Eita to walk her home. The entire class, along with Eita, is flabbergasted. But instead of feeling flattered, Eita irritatedly asks if Masuzu lost a bet. Bro's self-confidence is zero. Unfazed by his reaction, Masuzu smiles broadly and boldly declares that she genuinely likes him and can't stop thinking of him even in her, private moments. What you say, girl? Unfazed by the class's astonishment, Masuzu insists he walk her home, and she holds onto him like an obsessed freak. Finally alone, a frustrated Eita confronts Masuzu, demanding to know why she would make such a scene publicly. Masuzu initially responds with a playful shrug, but then she coldly admits that her confession was a lie and she reads him for filth. Bro, they even get into a strange argument about panties. And then Masuzu explains that since her transfer from overseas, she's been asked out 58 times in just 2 months. Wow, she's for the streets. Her every action or inaction has become fodder for gossip, ruining her reputation. Eita, trying to be helpful, suggests she just date one of the jocks who asked her. Masuzu, however, explains that she can't fake being in love, as she finds the entire love concept to be baloney. Eita's eyes widen in surprise as he realizes that they have something in common. She hates love as much as he does. Despite Masuzu's reasoning, Eita initially refuses her request. However, Masuzu is persistent and pulls out a notebook and begins to read from it. Eita starts to cringe at the diary's contents, but his awkwardness quickly turns to shock when Masuzu mentions Chiwa, describing her and other women as simple-minded pick-me girls. Eita is stunned when he realizes that Masuzu is reading his personal diary. Shocked, he asks where she found it. Masuzu reveals that she discovered it tucked inside an encyclopedia she picked up at a used bookstore. Oh no, brother. Eita curses himself for hiding his diary in such a careless place. The situation goes from bad to worse when Masuzu starts blackmailing Eita, gleefully revealing that she has saved all the entries on her computer and will blab it to the world. Cornered, Eita falls to his knees and defeatedly agrees to be her fake boyfriend. As Masuzu links her arm through Eita's, Chiwa comes barreling towards them, clearly ticked off by their PDA. Her sudden approach throws Masuzu for a loop. She turns to Eita, expecting him to explain, but before he can open his mouth, Chiwa butts in. She loudly declares she's Eita's childhood bestie and demands the deets on their relationship. Masuzu's face goes ice cold as she questions Chiwa's nerve, implying she doesn't need Chiwa's permission to be with Eita. Yes, girl. Chiwa, not fazed by Masuzu's icy attitude, starts listing off random super embarrassing events from Ida's life, trying to prove she's been around forever. Like, okay girl, we get it, you're his first friend, but definitely not his first girlfriend. In response to Chiwa's spiel, Masuzu stays cool and collected. She respectfully states that she'd love Chiwa's blessing since she'll be the one dating Ida. With that, Masuzu firmly grabs Ida's hand and starts strutting away, leaving Chiwa both stunned and fuming. Later, Chiwa vents her anger to Ida. She tells him that she's determined to find an amazing boyfriend and become the most popular girl he's ever seen, clearly upset by how the situation unfolded. The next day, Kaoru teases Ida about how he, who has always presented himself as no simp zone, now has the school's hottest girl on his arm and seems completely unbothered by it. As Ida munches on his lunch, Kaoru spills the tea about the latest school gossip. Apparently, everyone's got Ida's name in their mouths. Ida starts to get a taste of what Masuzu must have gone through with all that non-stop drama. Yeah buddy, welcome to the circus. Kaoru then spills about Chiwa's latest shenanigans, like how she's now ending every sentence with a meow and showed up to school with a piece of bread still hanging from her mouth. Girls out here straight up cosplaying as a cat. Kaoru then explains that this is Chiwa's attempt to climb the social ladder and find a cool boyfriend. Ida sighs in frustration, feeling hopeless about the situation. Kaoru advises Ida that if he wants to date Masuzu, he should at least try to make amends with Chiwa, who has always been like family to him. So, as Ida walks home with Masuzu, he tries to bring up the subject of Chiwa, hoping to address the issue and navigate the complex situation. Dude's got his work cut out for him, dealing with this mess. However, before Ida could say anything, Masuzu cuts him off, saying she already knows he wants to tell Chiwa the truth about their relationship. She makes it clear that she absolutely won't allow him to do so. Ida tries to argue, insisting that Chiwa would keep their secret safe, but Masuzu quickly shuts down his argument, explaining that once he shares their secret and it's revealed to be fake, he won't serve as her shield anymore. Wow, possessive much? Realizing Masuzu's point, Ida apologizes to her. They then shift the conversation to Chiwa's unusual behavior. When Masuzu learns that Chiwa wants to become popular, she smiles and tells Ida to bring Chiwa to her place the next day. Initially confused by the whole situation, Ida decides to let Masuzu handle it and comes up with a plan. The next day, Ida brings Chiwa to Masuzu's tea club. Masuzu, rocking a traditional robe, greets them with poise and gets straight to the point, directly addressing Chiwa. She mentions she knows about Chiwa's recent struggles. Taken aback and flustered by the remark, Chiwa snaps back, questioning why Masuzu would even care about her troubles. Masuzu, still keeping her cool, explains that as the most popular girl in school, she's gotten bored with her own popularity. She goes on to reveal she wasn't always popular, and it took her many trials and errors to get where she is now. Chiwa, super eager to learn more, asks Masuzu for her secret sauce. Masuzu then dramatically whips out Ida's diary, claiming it belonged to her first love and that she learned a lot about guys from it. With her Oscar-worthy acting skills, Masuzu brings tears to her eyes and begs Chiwa to let her help her become popular. Seriously, can this get any more dramatic? Chiwa's falling for it like it's some kind of K-drama. At first, Chiwa's got her guard up and is totally skeptical, but Masuzu plays it smart, suggesting that if she doesn't join the club, she'll end up working alone with Ida. This move pulls Chiwa right in, making her more open to Masuzu's offer. The next day, Masuzu starts chatting with Chiwa, advising that to boost her popularity, she needs to focus on a guy. After thinking it over, Chiwa admits she thinks Sakagami-senpai, an upperclassman and star basketball player, is pretty cool. That's right, aim high girl. Masuzu jumps on this and suggests Chiwa should start carrying a guitar, saying it's a surefire way to up her popularity game. To back up her advice, Masuzu humorously reads from Ida's diary, making him cringe with embarrassment. After handing Chiwa an empty guitar case, Masuzu tells her to just fake it and pretend there's a guitar inside. Following Masuzu's so-called brilliant advice, Chiwa drags the empty case to school the very next day. Instantly, she gets mobbed by nosy girls asking if she's a street performer and what kind of music she vibes with. Chiwa's a hot mess but tries to answer their questions. Major cringe. Soon, Sakagami's brother shows up and casually drops that his bro owns a ton of guitars. He then suggests Chiwa should play a tune for them. The girls are all in, pushing Chiwa into the spotlight. Meanwhile, Masuzu's just sitting pretty, acting like she's got zero responsibility for this whole mess. Feeling the heat, Chiwa decides it's time to go full insane clown mode. She grabs the empty guitar case and starts swinging it around like she's auditioning for a circus performance while screaming Dora. The crowd watches in stunned silence as Chiwa, totally embarrassed, makes a hasty getaway. Hilariously cringe. Eita looks over at Masuzu and sees her laughing like she's just won the cruelest prank contest. In that moment, he realizes he's never met someone as ruthless as her. After a bit, Eita and Masuzu find Chiwa chilling in the club room, sipping tea like she's not dealing with a dumpster fire of drama. While they're chatting, Chiwa asks how Masuzu and Eita started dating. Masuzu, being her usual troll self, jokes that Eita saw her panties, so she had no choice but to offer herself up. As she says this, she playfully hikes up her skirt, making Eita blush like a tomato and Chiwa look like she's about to pass out. Totally cringy, Chiwa runs to the loo, maybe to puke, leaving Masuzu and Eita alone. Pissed off by Masuzu's childish antics, Eita finally confronts her, asking why she's being so extra. With a sneaky grin, Masuzu admits she figured Chiwa would bounce from the club after embarrassing herself with the empty guitar case stunt. Eita, rolling his eyes, smiles and shakes his head. He explains that Chiwa had an accident that messed up her hip, and her original dream was to join the kendo club. But after that fell through, Chiwa set a new goal to become popular, which is why she's not going anywhere. Masuzu needs to chill with the petty drama. Chiwa's just trying to find her spot. Hearing Chiwa's sob story, Masuzu's whole vibe changes. She gets all up in Eita's space and purrs that she won't tolerate him getting close to any other girl, because he's all hers now. Classic Masuzu, always on some possessive trip. A new day dawns and always ready to stir up some drama. Masuzu grabs Eita's diary and starts reading it. Inside, Eita's created this cringy superhero alter ego, burning fighting fighter, who battles against some lame wyverns. As Masuzu reads aloud, Eita's face starts glowing red with embarrassment. Masuzu shifts her focus to Chiwa, asking her to spill her own past life story. After a dramatic pause, Chiwa reveals she was a beloved princess adored by everyone. She goes on about a prince on a white horse who proposed to her, promising a life of daily feasts with fancy meat. At this point, Eita's had it up to here. He stands up, voice charged with annoyance, and tells them they're totally butchering the concept of past lives. He insists they should add some real conflict, drama, and excitement. Basically, something that doesn't make them all look like complete jokes. After Eita finishes his passionate speech, he looks around and sees his audience completely stunned. Realizing he might have gone a bit overboard, Eita stammers, trying to save face. But before he can dig himself out of the hole, Masuzu steps in. She agrees with Eita's point, saying that drama should totally be part of their past life fantasies. Masuzu then turns to Chiwa and announces she's going to whip up an action-packed script for her to perform. Chiwa, still a bit clueless, asks if this will actually make her more popular. Masuzu, ever the smooth operator, assures her that her lover's diary never lies. Feeling like she's just hit the jackpot, Chiwa struts into the classroom like she's just unlocked some epic new powers and memories from a past life. She delivers her lines with all the dramatic flair, her voice booming through the room. To level up the drama, Eita jumps in, fully committing to his role as Chiwa's sidekick. He matches her over-the-top vibes, making the scene even more lit. The class watches, completely mesmerized, as the two bring their imagined past lives to life. It's the cringiest thing I've seen in my entire life. After making a grand entrance, Chiwa pulls off an equally dramatic exit, leaving the classroom buzzing like a hype train. The students erupt into applause, praising Eita for his performance and eagerly asking if he'll take this act to the stage. Eita, still in character, gives a modest nod. Masuzu, watching from the sidelines, is totally gobsmacked. She wanted this scene to be all serious, but the class is losing their minds over the comedy gold. She's on her knees, muttering in disbelief as her serious skit turns into an unintentional laugh fest, while Chiwa and Eita are soaking up all the unexpected glory. Later in the club room, Masuzu declares it's time for Chiwa to shoot her shot with their senpai, Sakagami. Chiwa's like, "Is this really the moment?" Masuzu, dripping with confidence, assures her that after Chiwa's dramatic shenanigans, Sakagami will be totally smitten. Eita tries to drop some wisdom, saying it might be a bit too soon, but Chiwa cuts him off, dead set on asking Sakagami out. Masuzu, with that sneaky grin, teases that it's almost like Chiwa wants Sakagami to reject her. Chiwa, flustered, insists she'll stick with the classic move of slipping a love letter into Sakagami's locker. Later, while they're grocery shopping, Eita turns to Chiwa and asks if she's totally cool with her plan. Chiwa reassures him with a confident nod, saying she's got this. Eita, feeling good about her confidence, promises that if she pulls it off, they'll throw a mini party. But as Eita stays chill, Chiwa suddenly gets hit with a wave of sadness. She forces a smile, trying to convince herself that all this effort to win Sakagami's heart will pay off. But deep down, and we know the truth. It's Eita she's really after, even if she can't admit it to herself yet. The next day, Chiwa nervously slips the love letter into Sakagami's locker and waits for him on the rooftop. Eita and Masuzu are watching her like hawks, totally invested. To everyone's shock, Sakagami shows up with a sweet smile and tells Chiwa he's always thought she was adorable. He then suggests even though she scored a win, Chiwa's not exactly jumping for joy. As they head home, Masuzu proudly declares that her lover's diary worked its magic once again. Chiwa agrees, saying whoever wrote that diary clearly had some serious skills in fantasy writing. Eita, on the other hand, knows his diary is just a cringeworthy mess. Back at Eita's place, they set up a fancy feast to celebrate, but Chiwa just stares at the spread, her excitement totally MIA, still wrapped up in her doubts and disappointment. Feeling like she's hit her limit, Chiwa bursts out and asks Eita if he's really cool with her hooking up with Sakagami. Confused, Eita responds that the whole purpose of the club was to help her gain popularity, and that's what they all worked hard for. But Chiwa, totally losing it, starts crying and says she wishes she'd never met him because it's all been a waste. Eita, caught off guard by her drama, reminds her that they've known each other since first grade and are basically siblings. Bro straight up family zoned her. Chiwa, even more crushed, starts wailing like a banshee and takes off running like a scene from a Korean drama. Eita starts reminiscing about middle school. Back then, a limping Chiwa had shown up at his house just after his parents had bounced on him for their new love affairs. Despite all that mess, Eita vowed he'd learn to cook just for her and promised one day he'd whip up a bomb meal. When Chiwa's kendo dreams got wrecked, Eita decided he'd become a doctor to take care of her. Even though he was a total underdog student, he swore he'd rank up just to make her proud. After that wave of nostalgic memories, Eita bounces out of bed and bolts to the cinema, hoping to sneak a peek at the two lovebirds meeting up at the theater. But just as he's about to pull off his undercover mission, he crashes right into Masuzu. He asks if she's there to spy on Chiwa's date, and with her signature smirk, Masuzu links arms with him and says she's just there as the club president. Eita and Masuzu keep a low-key watch on Chiwa, who's totally dressed to impress for the date. Eita comments on her glam look, and Masuzu casually drops that she's the genius behind it. When Eita says she can actually be nice sometimes, Masuzu hits him with the ultimate burn, revealing she recycled her 6th grade clothes for Chiwa. Classic Masuzu move, Eita immediately regrets his compliment. As time passes, Eita starts to wonder where Sakagami is. Just when it feels like the date might be a no-show, Sakagami finally shows up. But plot twist. He rolls in with a whole entourage of friends. Sakagami cracks up, making fun of Chiwa as he reveals it was all just a prank, and he had even bet that she was so desperate she'd stick around and wait all night. His crew chimes in, roasting her and saying a dude like Sakagami would never be into someone like her. Ouch, super burn. Eita's blood is practically boiling as he watches Chiwa's face crumble. Masuzu then drops the bombshell that she knew from the start that Sakagami was a total player. This only makes Eita's rage burn hotter. He's about to storm off, fists clenched, when Masuzu grabs his arm and pulls him back. With a dead serious look, Masuzu spills that she set up this whole mess not to be a villain, but to teach Chiwa a lesson about the shallow game of love. Her goal was to make Chiwa see how pointless it is to chase someone who doesn't give a damn. Tough lesson. Eita's face goes from chill to ice cold as he flashbacks to when Chiwa was totally wrecked and heartbroken when she had to give up on kendo. He remembers when Chiwa was all dreams and ambition, only to have it all ripped away. So rough. He turns to Masuzu, demanding to know why she'd mess with Chiwa like that. Masuzu gives him the cold shoulder, accusing him of already knowing she's got a shady side and everything she says will always be a lie. Okay, Miss Pants on fire. But Eita insists that even when people are downhearted, you shouldn't take their hope away. As he tries to bounce, Masuzu grabs his sleeve, showing a rare moment of vulnerability as she admits she doesn't want to be alone. Eita, not missing a beat, playfully flicks Masuzu on the head, joking about how her boyfriend will swoop in to save the day. Masuzu watches him walk off, her face turning from icy to stormy as she thinks about how clueless he is about the real world. Meanwhile, Eita charges ahead, channeling his inner hero, fired up and ready to tackle whatever comes next. Eita goes full-on chaotic, fantasy mode, flailing his arms and throwing off Sakagami's crew, who are totally shook by his wild behavior. It's hilariously cringe. He seizes the chance and bum rushes Sakagami, demanding an apology for pranking Chiwa. Sakagami and his gang are caught off guard by Eita's gutsy move, but not for long and stomp him with brutal force. Even though Eita takes some serious hits, he stands his ground, dropping some cryptic lines about some girl watching. Out of nowhere, a kendo stick flies through the air and lands at Chiwa's feet. She snatches it up like a pro and takes down Sakagami and his squad with some epic moves. Boss lady. After kicking butt, Chiwa gives Sakagami a polite bow and apologizes for the whole charade. She admits she never really had feelings for him and suggests they just forget about the mess. Sakagami, clearly relieved, grabs his friends and hightails it out of there. Chiwa bolts over to Eita, and they totally squash the drama like it never even happened. Meanwhile, some mysterious ponytailed girl is lurking in the background, totally blending into the scenery without anyone noticing, silently watching. The next day, the whole school is buzzing about Sakagami's shady behavior, thanks to his true colors being revealed. Kaoru fills Eita in, saying everyone is hyped up about his heroic moves defending Chiwa. They both glance at Masuzu's empty seat, and Kaoru points out that Masuzu is probably super salty about Eita playing a knight in shining armor for someone else and leaving her hanging. After school, Eita decides to drop by Masuzu's place and realizes she lives in the exact opposite direction of where he's headed. He has a light bulb moment that she's been walking him home all this time. Out of nowhere, Masuzu pops up behind him and gives him a super tight punishment hug. As they walk together, Eita finds out Masuzu's still planning to run the club like the boss she is, no matter what. Eita brings up their previous conversation, which makes Masuzu pout in response. Relenting, Eita agrees to keep the club running. In a surprising turn, Masuzu spins around and kisses Eita on the lips. With a playful smile, she reminds him that his first kiss was with her, not Chiwa. Eita, taken aback, comments on how bold she still is, clearly dismayed. Masuzu then reveals with a smirk that the whole moment was a parody of a scene from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The next morning, Eita nearly jumps out of his skin when he finds Chiwa in his bathroom, wrapped in nothing but a towel, trying to play it cool, but before he can even process that, Eita stumbles into the kitchen to find Masuzu whipping up breakfast. She cheerfully tells him she also emailed to let him know she'd be cooking for him. Now, Eita's in full-on panic mode, darting between the bathroom and kitchen like he's in some sort of romantic relay race, desperately trying to keep the two apart. But, of course, his plan crashes and burns when Chiwa and Masuzu finally bump into each other. When Masuzu and Chiwa come face to face, the tension in the air gets so thick, you could cut it with a butter knife. Their intense stares and the dead silence make it feel like the final showdown in a drama series. Eita feels like he's in a war zone. Nah, big homie, that just your harem starting to grow. Speaking of harems, Eita also gets hit with an anonymous love letter. The sender gushes about having always loved him and wanting to reignite their past connection. Perplexed, Eita takes the letter to Kaoru, who speculates that the letter could be from Chiwa, adding another layer of confusion to the situation. With the mystery love letter still messing with his head, Eita rolls into the club room. The second he steps in, Chiwa is all up in his face, asking where Masuzu is. Eita mumbles something about her being busy. Sensing an opening, Chiwa leans her head against Eita, casually claiming she's just practicing what it'll be like to have a boyfriend once she hits the big time. This girl is out here flirting like it's her full-time job. But before Eita can even process what's happening, Masuzu barges in, keeping that icy poker face, and casually slams Chiwa's head onto the desk. Ouchie! After some playful bickering with Chiwa, Masuzu drops the next big mission: take on the troublesome hall monitors. Chiwa, eager to level up, suggests they recruit more members for the club. This earns her a backhanded compliment from Masuzu, who declares that since music can heal the world, the club should have its own theme song. Chiwa, not missing a beat, excitedly pitches her theme song idea. My connection with you is like a dog barking. She starts belting it out with all the enthusiasm of a TikTok challenge gone wrong, but Masuzu cuts her off mid-bark. With a deadpan expression, she critiques the song for being way too lovey-dovey instead of tackling the real issues facing humanity, because of course that's what every school club anthem needs. Masuzu then grabs Eita's diary, and with Oscar-worthy flair, starts singing a poem from it titled Rotten World. Eita goes berserk as his deepest, most cringe-worthy thoughts are aired out like last week's dirty laundry. The next morning, just when Eita thought things couldn't get weirder, he finds another love letter in his shoe locker. Before Eita can even process the letter, Masuzu swoops in, causing him to scramble and hide it like it's the last slice of pizza at a party. Masuzu's eagle-eyed stare catches the whole thing, and she confronts Eita with all the subtlety of a nosy neighbor. She demands to know what he's hiding. When Eita stands his ground and refuses to spill the beans, Masuzu pulls out the big guns. Blackmail. She threatens to expose his diary. Talk about a low blow. Despite Masuzu's shady tactics, Eita sticks to his guns, refusing to give up any secrets. Just when things seem to reach peak drama, a girl with eye-catching blonde hair makes a grand entrance, and Masuzu's whole vibe does a 180. With a smirk firmly in place, the blonde girl begins addressing Masuzu, letting her know that their parents are disappointed because they didn't send her back to Japan to find a boyfriend. Eita soon learns that the girl is Mana Natsukawa, Masuzu's evil baby sister. Mana reassures Masuzu that she'll speak well of her, but demands her boyfriend in exchange. Human trafficking, hello? Without a second thought, Mana kisses Eita, licks her lips and leaves in a limo. What the heck? As Eita turns to ask Masuzu about Mana, she reacts with anger, insisting that she doesn't trust him enough to share her personal life with him, just as he won't share with her. The next day, Masuzu is found lounging by the pool, wrapped in a towel. Eita approaches her, inquiring if she plans to swim, only to discover that Masuzu actually dislikes getting wet. As Masuzu lounges by the pool, a group of girls strolls by, laughing and speculating if she's covering up for attention. Stung by their remarks, Masuzu throws off her towel and decides to take a swim. The boys around the pool start cheering, but the excitement quickly fades to silence when Masuzu strangely begins to flop like a suffocating fish and starts drowning. Fortunately, Eita leaps into action, rescuing her and performs CPR. Masuzu soon regains consciousness in the infirmary and apologizes for her earlier erratic behavior. Baby Sis locking lips with him had affected her in ways she never knew possible. Eita reassures her that the kiss from Mana was meaningless and urges her to forget about it. With a smile, Masuzu agrees to let it all go. Later, Eita finds out that Chiwa was sick and heads over to check on her. In her room, he gives her a sponge bath and spots some chopsticks from their recent meal together. Chiwa reveals they're a keepsake from a special time they shared. That's when Eita suddenly realizes that the mysterious letters he's been getting aren't from Chiwa after all. The next day, while Chiwa and Masuzu battle it out for his affection, another letter shows up, this one inviting Eita to meet on the rooftop. When Eita makes his way up there, he's greeted by the ponytailed girl from the mall. She introduces herself as Himika Akashino. She drops the bombshell that they were lovers in a past life, where she was known as the Burning Pudding Princess. The hell? As Himika holds him tight, Eita freaks out and asks her how she knows about his secret alter ego, the Burning Fighting Fighter. Before Himika can explain herself, Chiwa and Masuzu walk in on them, catching them mid-hug. As the girls approach with daggers in their eyes, Eita hisses at Himika to keep their past life connection under wraps. When the girls question Himika's identity, she reveals she's Eita's ex-girlfriend. Chiwa, shocked and fuming, demands to know if Eita's been dating someone on the down low. Meanwhile, Masuzu starts scribbling notes about Eita's life in her diary, like she's Nancy Drew and about to solve a mystery. Himika, upon hearing that Chiwa is Eita's childhood friend and Masuzu is his current girlfriend, has a total meltdown. She loudly declares that she's the only one who can be with Eita, turning the drama dial. Later, Eita is left speechless when he walks into the club room and finds Himika and Masuzu sipping tea together like they're old friends. Totally baffled, Eita confronts Masuzu, trying to make sense of this new development. Masuzu explains that Himika had shared with her that during Eita's fight with Sakagami as the Burning Fighting Fighter, she remembered her past life as the Burning Pudding Princess. With this revelation, Masuzu decided it would be a good idea to bring Himika into the club, thinking it would be a win-win situation. Keep your enemies close, girl. Chiwa, however, isn't having any of it. She insists that Himika is just after Eita and has no real plans to contribute to the club's goals. Masuzu, with her usual icy calm, counters that Himika and Chiwa are twinning. The tension goes through the roof when Chiwa point-blank asks Himika if she's here to get famous. Himika grabs Eita's arm and declares that her only interest is him, completely ignoring the club's ambitions. Stalker alert. Masuzu wastes no time and pulls out Eita's diary, declaring that Himika must be trying to catch the opposite sex's attention to back up her claims. She starts reading aloud about Eita's ideal types, cleverly disguised as characters from his fantasy world. The girls listen with a mix of curiosity and amusement, their eyes widening as Masuzu exposes his secret preferences. Meanwhile, Eita feels like his brain cells are melting from sheer embarrassment. Hearing Masuzu broadcast his private thoughts is almost too much for him to handle. Once she finishes her dramatic reading, Masuzu announces that if Himika wants to join the club, she must express what kind of maiden she wants to be, through poetry, of course. Chiwa, not one to be left out of the fun, adds that Himika will also need to pass a practical test. Just as the drama peaks, the hall monitors burst in and scoop up both Chiwa and Masuzu, leaving Eita and Himika in the aftermath of their interrupted showdown. Left alone with Himika, Eita seizes the moment to ask why she's so invested in him, especially since he's not her boyfriend in this lifetime. Himika opens up, revealing that she once dreamed of making a big impact on the world. But as she transitioned from middle school to high school, she felt herself turning into just another face in the crowd, mundane and gray. Eita, however, stood out as unique, and the memories of their past life together gave her a sense of purpose and hope she thought was gone forever. Like, "Girl, are you being serious right now?" Delulu. Eita blushes furiously at this heartfelt confession. After processing her kind words, he admits that he left behind his fantasy life as the burning fighting fighter back in middle school. Himeka, however, passionately argues that he should still believe in himself as a valiant warrior capable of breaking through the gray monotony of the world. On their day off, Masuzu, Chiwa, and Eita find themselves scrubbing and cleaning the pool, oddly bonding over this rare moment of teamwork. Just when things seem peaceful, Mana shows up and drops a bombshell. Their father has ordered her to pack up and return to Sweden immediately. Oh no! Hearing Mana's news, Masuzu's mood shifts from calm to icy in record time. She delivers a frosty declaration that she doesn't like Eita anymore and that Chiwa can have him if she wants. With a dramatic flair, she storms off, leaving Eita completely dumbfounded and Chiwa sprinting after her, trying to make sense of the whirlwind. As if the drama wasn't enough, Himeka arrives, clutching her poetry like a lifeline, ready to share her heartfelt verses with the club. But before she can even open her mouth, Mana swoops in, snatching the journal and starting a public roast. Himeka's eyes well up with tears as she feels the sting of humiliation. Eita, watching the scene unfold, can't hold back. He lets loose a colorful tirade at Mana, telling her off for mocking someone's dreams. Everyone's got their fantasies, and she's got no right to trash them. Just then, Masuzu reappears, her eyes flashing with authority. She gives Mana a stern talking to, laying down the law about showing respect. Meanwhile, Eita offers a comforting ear to Himeka, gently encouraging her to pour out her feelings. Bolstered by Eita's support, Himeka bravely shares her emotions, convincing Masuzu to rethink her decision. In a final twist, Masuzu uses her big sister powers to make Mana apologize to Himeka. Mana grumbles out a half-hearted apology but can't resist dropping a dramatic warning to Masuzu that she'll totally regret going against their dad's orders. Masuzu, unbothered and totally unshakable, gives Himeka the thumbs up to join the club. The next morning, Eita wakes up in a total daze and almost has a meltdown when he realizes he's next to a naked Himeka. As he stumbles around trying to figure out why she's rocking the no-clothes look, Himeka starts going off about her fantasy world needing all the love to keep it vibing. Eita's in full panic mode, trying to get out of bed when Himeka pulls him into a hug, wrapping herself up in a blanket that's basically a glorified napkin. Out of nowhere, Masuzu and Chiwa start pounding on the door like they're auditioning for a role in a horror movie. Eita, now officially freaked out, begs Himeka to save him from this cringe-worthy mess. Calm as ever, Himeka tells him that to banish the lowly poltergeists outside, he's got to declare his love for her 100 times. Himeka opens the door to let Masuzu and Chiwa in, and they storm in with a flurry of complaints. Eita quickly ducks behind the curtains, trying to avoid being seen. Himeka almost spills the tea on what transpired, and just as Masuzu is about to spot him, Fuyumi AI from the hallway monitoring committee shows up with a serious face and demands they shut down the club immediately. Chiwa, with a mischievous grin, teases AI, suggesting she's so upset because she secretly wants to join the club and become popular. She keeps at it, saying AI's too uptight to ever get a boyfriend. AI, flustered, snaps back that she already has one. When Masuzu asks about him, AI proudly says he's a top student in Tokyo and the son of a CEO. The next day, AI follows through and shuts down the club, which Eita isn't too unhappy about since he's got summer classes anyway. To Eita's surprise, he runs into AI at the academy for his summer class. AI stops dead in her tracks, looking just as shocked, and asks what he's doing there. Eita explains he's there to study, and when he mentions he's in Class Z, AI's eyes light up and she blushes before she quickly regains her cool. Turns out, she's in the same class. Eita realizes AI's also gunning for top-tier schools. As AI starts to spill the tea about her plans, she suddenly makes a face and says she doesn't want to catch his germs before briskly walking away. In class, Eita discovers that Kaoru and AI are friends. Later, Chiwa vents her frustration, revealing that AI sent her to the headmaster's office. Chiwa, always the gossip queen, suddenly asks Eita if anyone other than Masuzu has asked him out. After a thoughtful pause, Eita recalls a kindergarten crush who probably just wanted to trade snacks. Fast forward to study time, and Eita gets a text from Masuzu, asking him to meet her at a nearby cafe. When Eita arrives, Masuzu's all business. She demands Eita's help in finding AI's Achilles heel so they can take back their beloved club. Masuzu reveals that AI only brings up her boyfriend during heated arguments, like it's her trump card. With a serious glare, she insists Eita prove that AI's so-called boyfriend is just a figment of her imagination. The next day, Kaoru practically drags AI over to Eita, threatening to withhold his help if AI doesn't play nice. AI, looking like she's about to burst into flames from embarrassment, awkwardly hands Eita a bento and asks him to dig in. Eita tries it and praises her cooking like it's the next gourmet revolution. AI bolts out of there faster than a cat on a hot tin roof, her face redder than a sunburned ginger. The next day, Kaoru, ever the matchmaker, tries to get AI to hang out with Eita, claiming it's her big chance since Chiwa is MIA. As AI starts to drop hints about her so-called boyfriend, Chiwa bursts in like a whirlwind, accusing AI of being a total liar. AI, looking like she's been caught in a lie, insists she and her mystery man are madly in love. Sure, AI, we're all buying that. Just then, Himika arrives, probably thinking she's walked into a soap opera. She asks AI about her boyfriend, and AI, with the creativity of a fanfic writer, starts spinning a wild tale about Michael, her imaginary beau. Later, AI asks Eita how he felt about her boyfriend chatter. Eita, clearly at a loss and possibly wishing he were anywhere else, struggles to respond. AI, obviously not caring for his answer, tells him to just forget about it. Eita agrees, saying he'll see her tomorrow, which makes AI smile like she's just won the lottery. Girl's got a hidden agenda. Eita fills Masuzu in on the latest, describing AI's detailed but clearly made-up boyfriend saga. Masuzu, sticking to her guns, insists AI's just lying like her life depends on it. Eita, exasperated, points out that if Masuzu really doubted AI, she'd have to question Himika's and Chiwa's wild claims too. Masuzu, reflecting on Eita's words, smiles and stands up to kiss him on the lips. She then admits to Eita that her past experiences have made it difficult for her to trust others. Eita reassures her that his belief in people, including Himika and Chiwa, is genuine. After hanging out with Kaoru and AI, Eita heads home, only to find Chiwa waiting like a drama queen. Chiwa hits him with a question about whether he's still spying on AI. Eita, sounding like he's defending a secret agent job, explains he's not exactly stalking but trying to dig up AI's dirt to get their club back. Chiwa just sits there, silent, so Eita decides to investigate and finds her deep in a magazine. Curious, Eita asks what caught her eye. Chiwa flashes the magazine, which is all about how to make your crush fall head over heels. Eita starts reading out loud, discovering a tip about feeding your crush their favorite food and saying some magic words to make them fall for you. It's like they're teaching you how to cast a love spell, and honestly, it sounds like the plot of a really bad rom-com. Kinda like this anime, except it's wonderfully cringe and insane. The next day, Eita spots AI cheerfully chanting to herself like she's trying to summon a love genie. AI then asks if Eita's going to the fireworks with any of the girls. Eita, who's clearly a textbook nerd, says he turned down all invites because of his killer study schedule. She gets insanely excited before inquiring just who Eita plans to go to the fireworks with, only for Eita to crush her hopes with a dull lecture about academic priorities. Noticing AI's bummed-out vibe, Kaoru invites Eita to a movie the next day. Eita shares this with Himika, Chiwa, and Masuzu. Masuzu, ever the schemer, suggests they use the movie date as bait to lure AI. She's convinced that if AI's got a boyfriend, it'll be cheating, and if not, they can use this chance to blackmail her. It's a plan that sounds like it was cooked up during a late-night strategy session fueled by caffeine, edibles, and bad ideas. Masuzu's master plan is in full swing. She orders Chiwa to tag along with Eita on the date, while she takes on the role of stealthy paparazzi. As the group heads to the cinema, AI suddenly drops a bombshell, asking Eita if he remembers anything from their kindergarten days. Eita, blanking like he's trying to remember his last math test, struggles to come up with an answer, making AI look like someone stole her last cookie. During the movie, AI and Chiwa spot characters that seem to mirror their lives. They start verbally and eventually physically attacking each other. Meanwhile, Masuzu, hiding out like a secret agent on a stakeout, is fuming and muttering curses about Eita under her breath. Her frustration is so palpable you'd think Eita had just set her favorite shirt on fire. I pity the other people in the cinema having to endure their emotional volatility. As the movie hits an emotional scene that mirrors AI's own struggles, she's suddenly in tears. It's like she's watching a telenovela and forgot she wasn't actually the star. After the credits roll, AI quickly brushes off her meltdown, insisting it's no biggie. Okay, girl. The next day, while Eita is rummaging through his stuff, he spots a notebook that looks like it holds the secrets of the universe. Just as he's about to investigate, AI goes full-speed ninja, trying to grab the notebook from him. In her panic, she smacks into Eita's bag, sending its contents flying everywhere. In the middle of the chaos, AI grabs the wrong notebook and hurries off, leaving Eita stuck with her original one. Eita, unable to resist the pull of curiosity, starts flipping through the pages and quickly realizes AI's notebook is a treasure trove of whimsical nonsense and repetitive meow 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 phrases. It's like reading the diary of a cat-loving fantasy writer who got stuck in a time loop. What in the crazy cat lady is going on? At first, Eita snaps the notebook shut, embarrassed for AI's cringy content. But then, curiosity gets the best of him again, and he reopens it. To his surprise, the notebook is filled with detailed and utterly bizarre fantasies about her imaginary boyfriend. AI's flights of fancy are as elaborate and ridiculous as his own. Who knew? Meanwhile, AI, having realized her blunder, races back to retrieve the notebook, only to find Eita deep in her personal fantasy world. Eita reads aloud with increasing excitement, noting that AI's poetic musings make her just as much of a dreamer as he is. Panicking, AI confronts Eita, but in her haste, she bumps into him, sending both of them sprawling to the floor. As they lie there, AI is a bundle of tears and despair, begging Eita to mock her for being as delusional as a fanciful elementary school kid. Her dramatic plea is straight out of another telenovela. Seeing AI's distress, Eita stands up, dusts himself off, and, to AI's shock, admits he's just as delulu as she is. He begins to recount his own wild imaginary battles, with one involving a dragon. Eita gets totally into character, pretending to be the burning fighting fighter, complete with air punching and exaggerated sound effects. His over-the-top performance is so ridiculous and enthusiastic that it's hard not to cackle like a loon. Has me questioning my own mental health right now. As Eita acts out his fantasy, AI's tears turn to laughter, realizing that they're both gloriously deranged and in need of grippy socks. The pair share a laugh over their mutual quirks, bonding over their shared delusions and fancy-filled worlds. AI, taken aback by Eita's revelation and his dramatic performance, begins to laugh through her tears. She finds solace in the fact that she is not alone in her fantasies. Rising to her feet, she flings herself at him, feeling a newfound connection with Eita. Eita is left standing there, shell-shocked, as AI collects herself and steps back, Her cheeks glow up a deep red. Nervously, AI asks how much Eita read from the notebook. Eita, attempting to play it cool, tells her he only glanced at the poems, even though he actually saw way more than that. With a grin, he hands the slightly crumpled notebook back to her. AI's pout could rival a pouty kitten's as she scolds Eita for messing up her precious notebook. "You better make it up to me," she says, her voice dripping with mock seriousness. The day of the firework festival arrives, and Eita finds himself tangled in a web of promises. He told Chiwa he wasn't going, but he now needs to keep his promise to AI. To avoid any potential drama, Eita decides to go incognito. Sporting a cap that makes him look like a suspicious character from a spy movie, he heads to the meeting spot, hoping he won't be recognized. AI shows up, radiating elegance in a stunning yukata. However, instead of heading to the festival, she whisks Eita away to the countryside. Eita is bewildered, his mind reeling as the peaceful landscape and distant cricket chirps spark a flood of childhood memories. As they stroll along the familiar paths, Eita is overwhelmed by nostalgia, remembering simpler times from his past. "Where's she taking you, brother?" Suddenly, he recalls a favorite old spot, a shortcut to an ancient tree that they used to visit. Eita's excitement gets the best of him, causing him to grab AI's hand without thinking. When they finally reach the old tree, the sky bursts into a display of mesmerizing fireworks. The vibrant colors illuminate the night, casting a magical glow over the landscape. Eita looks up, his eyes wide with wonder, as the fireworks reflect in his gaze. With a slight smile, AI reveals that they were in the same kindergarten class. She used to call him Taken, a nickname she created for him. Eita's mind races as he tries to piece together the fragments of his past. Although he doesn't remember everything, the name strikes a familiar chord. Caught off guard, Eita suddenly realizes that AI is Achan from his past. He recalls the times when AI, still a little girl, would run to him, her face beaming with innocence and joy. The memories flood back, bringing a sense of warmth and familiarity. Upon remembering everything, AI welcomes her old friend. "Oh, puppy love." She begins telling him that Kaoru even used the same nickname, Achan, to jog his memory, but it was to no avail. Moreover, AI tells Eita that after moving away in kindergarten, she had no way of contacting him. Upon her return, she instantly noticed him, but her excitement was quickly discouraged upon seeing Chiwa and Eita always flirting with each other. She also recently learned that Masuzu is now his girlfriend while other girls like him too. Dude's a playboy. This dramatic scene quickly shifts to insane territory when AI hands Eita a letter. On it, she reveals a promise he made to her, a commitment to get married in 10 years. As AI begins pestering him about this promise, Eita reminds her that she still has a boyfriend and that everything is moving too fast. However, AI quickly admits that it was all a lie. Appalled by the revelation, Eita exclaims that he trusted her when she made up all the lies about Michael and that he needs to let the others know what's really good. AI fires back, telling him that she loved him throughout the entire time while he forgot about her existence. She insists that he should at least stamp the marriage document to legitimize their marriage. "Babe, you're beyond Delulu." The continuous back and forth leads to Eita running for his life. While running from AI, he stumbles upon Himika and Chiwa, who drag him away while AI hides nearby, gnashing her teeth, trying to avoid being discovered. She knows she must keep the recent events a secret from them. The following day, Masuzu calls Eita and firmly orders him to make it up to her for being with AI at the festival by kissing her for the same amount of time he spent with AI. It's 30 minutes. Flabbergasted, she says no, that will get her prego, and cuts it down to 3. Her logic escapes me. When Eita asks how she knew about their meeting, Masuzu replies that she saw them together at school. Reluctantly, Eita kisses her on the cheek. Just then, AI enters, revealing to everyone that she will allow the club to operate as she will be joining as a coach and chaperone. Corruption. With AI taking over, Chiwa finds herself constantly clashing with her. The tension between AI and Chiwa becomes palpable, with their disagreements often disrupting the club's activities. Chiwa, feeling threatened by AI's presence and authority, tries to assert her own influence, but AI's confident and commanding demeanor makes it difficult. Their clashes become a regular occurrence, each trying to outdo the other. Meanwhile, Himeka easily submits to AI, hoping to win Aida's affection. As for Masuzu, she gives AI her famous backhanded compliments, pointing out how she believes AI is a better coach than her since she has a rich, handsome boyfriend. Despite this, AI takes her role seriously and begins to impose her views on the club. She states that a girl should never make the first move. Instead, guys should always be the first. Agreeing with AI, Masuzu asks her to demonstrate the scene with Eita for the rest of them. Blushing, AI agrees, insisting she's only doing it for the club. At first, Eita expresses his reluctance, but once Masuzu shows him the notebook, Eita obediently does his best to act his part. AI caves in and agrees to go out with him, stating that she has won in this battle. The girls stare at the once uptight monitor with astonishment as she announces that she wants marriage and 3 kids immediately after school ends. Slow your horse's hot stuff. AI then removes herself from Eita and says that she's done pretending. Once again, Chiwa and AI find themselves quarreling. In the heat of the argument, AI reveals that she met Eita first, which adds a new layer of tension to their ongoing rivalry. Himeka chimes in, stating that, in reality, she met Eita first as they were lovers in a past life. This revelation only adds to the chaos, causing the club to begin falling apart. Masuzu, sensing the rising tension and the potential for disaster, quickly brings their attention to more immediate matters, such as planning a trip to the beach. The distraction works, and the group starts preparing for the upcoming trip. Amidst the excitement and preparations, Chiwa excuses herself to use the bathroom. Inside, she takes a moment to herself, trying to practice her smiling face after hearing about AI being Aida's friend from the past. The revelation has hit her hard, and she struggles to maintain her composure. To her surprise, Chiwa finds Eita waiting in the hallway when she exits the bathroom. When Eita asks Chiwa why she's so upset, Chiwa lies and says it's nothing. However, Eita, quick to catch on, tells her that it doesn't matter which friend came first. Relieved to hear that, Chiwa gives Eita a big hug and asks him to accompany her for shopping tomorrow. Later on, when Eita asks Masuzu if she's okay with him hanging out with Chiwa, Masuzu easily tells him to go if he pleases. She then remarks how he's always surrounded by childhood friends and past lovers these days. That's his harem girl. Continuing on, Masuzu tells Eita that while she's his fake girlfriend, she can't win against time. The following day, Eita greets Chiwa for their shopping trip when Masuzu makes a surprise appearance. Chiwa looks slightly startled but quickly regains her composure, while Eita feels a mix of surprise and curiosity about why Masuzu decided to join them. On the other hand, AI angrily punches the wall, calling Eita an adulterer. Upon seeing him with Chiwa and Masuzu, a whole new battle breaks out in the shopping mall as the girls fight for Aida's attention. Fed up by the constant yelling, Eita declares that he'll give them time individually. Player. Acting according to the plan, Eita manages to spend quality time with each girl, ensuring they all feel valued. Aida's auntie, Siko, unexpectedly catches him with Masuzu and the other girls. Eita tries to convince Siko that Masuzu is his girlfriend by explaining how they walk home together, go on dates at cafes, and generally spend a lot of time together. However, Siko interrupts him, calling her his fake, then moans that she is very hungry and suddenly collapses from exhaustion. As the group makes their way back to Aida's place, Siko immediately devours an enormous portion before falling asleep at the table. Eita, noticing how peacefully Siko sleeps, covers her with a blanket and comments that she sleeps best at a desk. The group then suggests they should do something together, and Himeka expresses a desire to visit Aida's bedroom. However, Eita quickly shuts that suggestion down, emphasizing the need to keep things appropriate. Freaky girl. Meanwhile, AI is fidgeting restlessly, her hands glinting with a mischievous energy as if she's a cat ready to pounce on a ball. Eita, noticing her strange behavior, remarks that there is no stamp in the house. This explains why AI seems so eager and restless. She wants that marriage license stamped and ready. Obsessive girl. Masuzu redirects the conversation to a more urgent issue, raising funds for their trip. She argues that getting part-time jobs isn't feasible due to the lengthy process of obtaining school permission. Smart girl. Each girl then presents her own suggestion. As they brainstorm possible solutions, Siko wakes from her power nap and chimes in, suggesting that money won't be an issue if they participate in a sponsored gaming event. Siko reveals that she works for a gaming company that develops Otan games. Noting the group's enthusiasm for Eita, she proposes they enter the competition to win the needed funds. Masuzu, eager to get more involved, questions why she's being left out, especially since she's supposed to be Eita's girlfriend. With a sly smirk, Siko explains that her intuition tells her Masuzu is merely in a fake relationship with Eita. Oof, Masuzu insists that she is the real deal. In response, Siko asks Masuzu to participate in a game which will reveal how much she loves Eita. As the girls are asked about a hypothetical situation, they all give answers according to how much they know Eita. Siko evaluates the results and reveals that Masuzu appeared last because her answer was too perfect to be true. Enraged by Siko's reasoning, Masuzu loses it. Siko counters back, stating that she'll acknowledge her status as the main girlfriend after she participates in the event. Later that night, Siko sits down with Eita and brings up an important topic. She tells him that if he wants to transform his life into a battleground, he must first learn self-defense. Siko warns Eita that managing a harem requires skill and careful management, or he could easily find himself in a complicated and troublesome situation. He already is, auntie. Eita firmly asserts that he has no desire for either scenario. Siko then advises him that if he's not interested in a battleground or a harem, he should consider focusing on just one girl. This leads Eita to reaffirm that he is currently dating Masuzu. Despite Eita's persistent efforts to convince Siko, she remains astute and advises him to proceed with caution. Later, Eita meets Masuzu, who is casually sipping on some juice. He seizes the opportunity to address her skipping dinner and tries to explain the health risks associated with missing meals. However, Masuzu dismisses his concern with a curt remark, expressing her confusion over why anyone would be interested in a bookworm like him who constantly preaches about various matters. Hurt by Masuzu's remark, Eita turns to her and asks if she really views him that way. Masuzu, avoiding the question, shifts the conversation to inquire about Eita's aunt. Eita describes Siko as a child trapped in an adult's body. AI explains that the fake relationship with Eita provides her some comfort, and admits that if the true nature of their relationship were revealed, it would be met with disbelief and scandal. Eita says they're in this together, but if Masuzu would just return his notebook, he would end their relationship without hesitation. Cold-hearted. The next day, Eita, Kaoru, and AI are in the library together. Kaoru remarks that Eita should feel pleased because all the attractive girls at their school are infatuated with him. Kaoru wishes he could join them at the beach, but when Eita tries to invite him, Kaoru immediately declines and instead leans on Eita, secretly wishing for more, showing his deep hidden affection for his bro. Damn, everybody wants a taste of Eita, the Riz King. AI arrives, questioning why they are having fun without her, and immediately receives a text from Himika. Eita asks AI if they are currently close, to which AI responds enthusiastically that they are, as she is their master. Eita then cautions AI not to teach Himika anything strange. Kaoru chimes in, concerned about whether it's alright for AI to be close with the girls, given that they are all rivals. Back home, Eita receives a message from Himika requesting that he bring glasses and swimsuits to the beach. He's taken aback when she follows up with a request for contraceptives. finding it quite outrageous, especially since Himeka seems unaware of what they are even used for. Himeka stays freaky. On the day of the trip, Masuzu confidently declares that the gods are favoring her side, as she and Eita are assigned seats next to each other on the bus. This announcement causes jealousy to stir among the other girls, who can't help but feel envious. Once on the bus, Masuzu and Eita put on an exaggerated display of affection, determined to convince everyone of their genuine relationship. They talk about how, upon reaching their destination, they plan to take a romantic stroll along the beach, watching the sunset and reflecting on their future together. Despite their efforts, the girls remain skeptical and continue to suspect that their relationship is nothing more than an act. Undeterred, Eita tries to heighten the effect by enthusiastically discussing plans to collect pink seashells and create lasting memories together. Despite his efforts, the girls still aren't convinced and continue to wonder. Upon finally reaching the resort, Himeka gazes at the vast expanse of the ocean with wide-eyed wonder. Masuzu, seizing the moment, announces that the club activities are officially beginning as part of their preparation for the upcoming contest. With this announcement, Himeka and Chiwa eagerly rush into the sea, excitedly diving in and trying to fully embrace and enjoy every moment of their time in the water. Meanwhile, Eita observes the girls swimming and comments that they look more like kids playing in the water. Masuzu notes how everyone swimming is totally unpopular. Eita retorts by asking if she thinks she's popular just because she's not swimming. Nearby, AI finds a shell that looks like a heart and shows it to Eita, who uninterestedly tells her it looks more like a fish. Frustrated by his response, AI storms off and gets hit by a full wave. Masuzu takes this opportunity to tell Eita that AI's cute traits are no match for Eita's cluelessness, to which Eita claps back at Masuzu, saying she's like an animal in a zoo. In response, Masuzu directs his attention to the crowd of boys gawking at her. Kind of proving his point, my dear. Irritated, Eita gets up and puts a sheet over her, making Masuzu ask why he's acting like someone jealousy in love. Eita responds that she was the one who wanted to act like a couple in the first place. Later on, the group sits down to eat some noodles, and Eita is amazed when Himeka tries to describe the food without sounding like an elementary student. Meanwhile, Masuzu blindfolds Eita and instructs him to smash a watermelon using his head for dessert. Blindfolded, Eita relies on the girls' voices to guide him toward the watermelon. However, the girls' directions are all over the place, creating a chaotic symphony of confusion. Eita, trying to keep his cool, decides to follow Masuzu, his one and only girlfriend. Masuzu's voice instructs him to move 3 meters ahead, and despite the cacophony of warnings from everyone else, Eita insists on following Masuzu's guidance. Spoiler alert, he ends up hugging Masuzu's chest instead of the watermelon, remarking on how soft the watermelons are. To Masuzu's delight, she chimes in with a sassy, "Are my watermelons juicy too?" Because of course, her ego needs a little padding unlike her bra. Meanwhile, Chiwa and the other girls are green with envy, taping a lewd on Eita's back as a punishment. Unfortunately, it gets sunburnt into his skin, leaving an effective yet shameful branding. Back at the resort, Eita is left to deal with the aftermath of his back tattoo. After arranging a smorgasbord of vegetables, he realizes he's short on ingredients and heads to the grocery store. Just as he's about to leave, Masuzu halts him, insisting he fix the chandelier instead. Clearly, Masuzu has mistaken Eita for a handyman or just wants to see him sweat. With Chiwa and Himeka off to grab groceries, Eita's left twisting light bulbs like it's a new hobby. With just AI and Masuzu left alone, AI sees her chance to stir the pot. She casually asks Masuzu if guys still hit on her, given that she and Eita are still known as the school's lovebirds. Masuzu, with the self-assured air of someone who's mastered the art of ignoring her own insecurities, responds that it doesn't happen anymore. AI then spills about a time when she saw a guy confessing his love to Masuzu, and when he got turned down, he flipped out and started yelling. AI adds that she'd probably start hating love confessions too if she had to deal with that kind of situation. The gravity of the moment sinks in as AI admits that if she figures out Masuzu is with Eita just for the sake of safety, she might not be able to forgive her. However, Masuzu changes the topic by asking how much one should peel an onion, revealing that she has been peeling it wrong all along, causing the onions and other ingredients to look like mashed potatoes. It turns out Eita also overheard the conversation between the girls and becomes sympathetic. He pauses his work on the light bulb, reflecting on AI's words and Masuzu's struggles. Later that night, while Chiwa and Himika are washing the dishes and AI is preoccupied with her phone, Masuzu and Eita strategize. Masuzu insists that they need to do something to make the girls believe their relationship is genuine, emphasizing the importance of convincing them to continue their act. Eita is taken aback when he realizes Masuzu is in her birthday suit while discussing their plan. He suggests that perhaps a gift might help convince the others. Masuzu then proposes that Eita should casually approach her and give her a kiss. Eita is shocked by this suggestion and questions if she would truly be okay with it. Masuzu explains that while a kiss might mean nothing to those who are indifferent to love, it can have a significant impact on those who are more emotionally invested. Noticing Eita's reluctance, Masuzu reassures him that she won't force him into kissing her this time. She clarifies that the decision is entirely up to him and that she will not blackmail him using his notebook. She wants to ensure that the choice is fair and that Eita's decision is made freely. As the group enjoys a game of cards, Eita reflects on Masuzu's earlier suggestion. After having fun with the girls, he should stand up, announce that he's going to bed, and kiss Masuzu. However, Eita is also aware that following through with the plan right now could lead to chaos among the girls, something he definitely wants to avoid. Just as Eita is about to act on Masuzu's plan, Chiwa surprises both him and Masuzu with a present, a keychain representing their club. Chiwa, along with Himika and AI, reveals that since Masuzu founded the club, they wanted to show their appreciation with this gift. This gesture leaves both Eita and Masuzu feeling guilty about their scheme, especially because Chiwa seems genuinely sincere in her appreciation, and it's clear that the other girls share her sentiment. Later, in her room, Eita apologizes for not kissing Masuzu, but to his surprise, she reveals that if he had kissed her, then she would have hated him. Masuzu goes on to express how, despite considering her as a rival, the girls got her a present which reminded her of her ugliness. Masuzu expresses how wretched she feels, realizing that she has taken Eita from Chiwa, who has been by his side since childhood. She gets up and shows Eita the notebook entry where he promised to become a doctor to heal Chiwa, highlighting Eita's deep care and commitment to her. This revelation shocks Eita to the core. Masuzu then smiles and tells Eita that after the trip, she will let him go, which leaves him deeply unsettled. The next morning, as the group enjoys breakfast without Masuzu, the girls are puzzled. They wonder how things went so wrong with Masuzu being sick when she seemed perfectly fine the night before. The girls inform Eita that the contest starts at 4:30, and all contestants need to be there by 3:30. Eita assures them that Masuzu will be ready by then, and the girls leave him behind to catch some fresh air. Eita heads to Masuzu's room, bringing her some food since she hasn't eaten anything. However, Masuzu rejects his offer, stating that she wants to be alone at this point. Feeling frustrated, Eita decides to take a stroll along the beach while wearing his sunglasses. As he is admiring the sun, a blonde girl suddenly crashes into him with her bike, causing her to fall and her butt to be exposed. This blonde girl is Mana, by the way, Masuzu's evil sister. After an initial altercation, Mana reveals that Masuzu was once considered the jewel of the family, as their father showcased her to everyone and even kept her separated from their mother. This treatment eventually drove Masuzu to madness and caused her to lose her sense of self. Talk about a traumatic childhood. Eita, intrigued, asks Mana what kind of person would be able to endure being with someone like Masuzu. With a smirk, Mana responds that only someone who can tolerate a liar like Masuzu would be able to stick with her. As the contest approaches, Eita rushes to the stage, where he spots Chiwa already in position. Siko, who's overseeing the preparations, turns to Chiwa and inquires about her feelings towards the guy she likes. Chiwa, with a hint of exasperation, describes Eita as being too freaking serious. However, she adds that his seriousness is part of why she feels a strong need to be there for him, not wanting to leave him on his own. Also, side note, she mentions that her hobbies are meat. This girl loves being stuffed. The anticipation builds as Siko announces the next participant, Himika. Suddenly, Himika appears visibly distressed, standing behind Eita and expressing her inability to go up on stage. Her anxiety is palpable, causing concern among the group. Eita, seeing her distress, steps in to provide support. He reassures Himika, reminding her that she is a crucial part of the club and that her presence is important for the event. Just as Himika begins to regain her composure, a video of AI flickers onto the screen. AI's voice comes through, addressing Himika directly. She tells Himika that if she does not step up now, all the hard work and effort she's put in will be for nothing. This additional pressure makes Himika's anxiety worse, and she turns to Eita, desperate for a solution to her overwhelming fear. Eita offers practical advice. He suggests that Himika use something she loves as a personal chant or mantra to help her manage her anxiety. He cleverly means himself, but it works like a charm. Taking Eita's advice to heart, Himika embraces him warmly and confesses her deep feelings for him, saying how much she loves him. The emotional moment between Himika and Eita is captured on screen, stirring a mix of reactions from the audience. AI also enters but is promptly disqualified for already being in a relationship. As Siko calls for the next participant, she eventually announces Masuzu's name. When Masuzu steps onto the stage, the crowd's initial reaction is one of awe and admiration, murmuring about her striking beauty. However, Masuzu quickly surprises everyone with an unexpected confession. She publicly apologizes and announces that Eita broke up with her the night before. This revelation sends ripples through the crowd, who begin to gossip, insult, and criticize her for the public breakup. Amidst the chaos and growing negativity, Eita rushes forward, urging Masuzu to continue the pretense so they can have a chance to start over. His intervention shocks Masuzu, who is taken aback by his desperate plea. In response, Masuzu confronts Eita, questioning why he would choose to be with someone as insincere as her when he has genuine people around him. She's a whack job, but at least she knows it. Eita retorts passionately, insisting that despite Masuzu's flaws, he believes that the genuine people in his life are too good for him, and someone as fake as Masuzu is actually a fitting match for someone like him. They're partners in crime, Bonnie and Clyde. With his confession of love, Eita boldly goes in for a passionate kiss with Masuzu. This dramatic gesture leaves the audience and Masuzu